Messianco, Breaking Major League en la ciudad del sol. Here in Miami, we know who's el campeón. Leo my team, yeah. Suárez on the field, Alex wedding dating. Con Busquets ya son win. The trio Fabi singing muchachos. Las familias se escuchan los barrios. Esta camiseta pinky la llevan todos los guachos. Los rookies quedan sin comentarios. Messi ambetea, tiki-taki gol. El estadio Chase bañado en lloro y sudor. Aquí se ama y se respeta el balón. Florida es tu casa, acostúmbrate al calor. Estate listo pa' Messianco. Estate listo pa' Messianco.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to a live edition of Messi and Co. I am Ashley here, as always, with my co-hosts Gian and Matt. I think we're just take a couple minutes for people to join in. Obviously, we're on the new channel, but while we wait for people to join, how we feeling? Happy, what's today? Wednesday.
Happy Wednesday, midweek. We're doing it live, finally. This is our first live, I feel like, all us three together, right? This is exciting.
Yeah, it's the first time. It's exciting. Let's see who we can get in here. Usually we go on the main channel, the main 5 Reasons sports channel. So obviously we're trying to build this new one, the 5 Reasons football channel. So it's exciting to see who transfers over from the main channel, and I'm excited to talk Inter Miami.
Yeah, me too. I mean, it will. I'm sure it takes a couple algorithm and stuff to get the people who are used to seeing on our YouTube lives to this, but we're just excited to build it and to be live. And there's so many subjects for us to go into. A lot of exciting things, a lot of controversy with this Inter Miami team. And so it'll be exciting to see how that plays out and what viewers think about the drama, the bias, potentially, the controversy surrounding this team. I'm just
we have somebody
Gian,
here.
you have your glasses on. No wonder you look so different.
Yeah, I took them off just so that I have to figure out the lighting here, because I've been moving my lighting around. If I don't have the proper lighting, it looks like this. Look. I go like this, and then you have the whole screen and everything, and it's just so. Yeah. So it's either look a little better but blind. So that's kind of like what I'm going with right now. Very happy Barca just won, and Messi with Inter Miami back tomorrow. I gotta agree. I was watching some Champions League while I was working today. Barca won. Liverpool was playing. Hey, and actually, there's a similarity there. Barca won with a man down, and we won.
Yeah, Cuarta got that red, which is which I thought was really hurt him. But
and it's the same. It's almost the same conversation that we were having about Avilés, right? You're really early in the game, and you should have let him go, and you commit basically the same foul that Avilés did. So it's crazy. I think that just goes to show you, like, we are sometimes so, I guess, like, critical of Avilés, and then you have guys on the biggest stage in the world in the Champions Cup game. Again, a young kid, 18 years old, but still playing with Barca. So it can happen to anybody, really.
I was going to say, he's 18, though, and this are just in, like, 17, 18, and,
Just perspective, really.
Yeah, it was that was a good finish by Rafinha. I only saw the highlights, but
Matt, is that how you go by on the streets, Matty Ice?
That's what they've been calling me. That's what they've been calling me, and I've been owning it. I've been loving that nickname. So shout out to AC O'Neill. He's been a regular on my side of the on my side of the stuff. So yeah, no, shout out to AC O'Neill, and I love that nickname, to be honest. It's so funny.
Hey, how come we don't have nicknames? I mean, I've been called names before by viewers, but not in anything I would want to be called.
We got to go live more often. You know what I'm saying? We got to go live more often. It literally came. The nickname came from a live stream. Like it was Chris from the Battered Herons. He was just like Matty Ice, and everyone loved it, and I loved it, and we just went with it. So I love it.
I'm gonna start a movement. I'm gonna figure out a name that I really like and just have somebody come in and start saying like one of my friends or something until it catches on. Like,
as you text me the nickname that you want, like.
And we actually had a comment the other day on YouTube that said I'd be a good coach. So maybe it's Coach Gian or something like that. Or I was gonna tell you guys I want to start a segment called
a lot of credit.
I want us to start a segment called Coach's Corner with Gian, where every episode I
have you ever coached though? Like, have you ever coached a team?
No, honestly, I don't have the patience for that. Like, I mean, I've tried to teach. Like, when at work, I've been asked to teach people how to do certain things, and after 5 minutes, if they don't understand, I'm like,
start yelling at them.
I'm just like done. I'm over it. Like, so I don't know if I'd make a good coach.
Yeah, I don't think you would be, but that is a
Oh,
nice
thank you.
compliment. I'm only called Ash. Like, I'm just called Ash. That's not that much of a nickname, but
you're like if you treat your trainees any way you treat the way you treat me in the press box, then you wouldn't be a good coach. Is that what you're saying, Ash?
Yes, it is what I'm saying. You should have heard the way he was talking to me.
It's in the press box. It's a constant like back and forth. It's just
really
funny. Yeah.
Barrage of. Anyways, but yeah, okay. Well, so we're getting some more people to join, and so I think we should definitely get this started. Oh my God. Well, you know what? This is a perfect thing to start with, right? So before we get into this comment from Ace, let's talk about the game overall. Obviously, there were the negative aspects that we're going to talk about. I'd say one surprise for maybe some people was that Messi didn't travel or play and was rested. I think we expected him to travel and to play. But, clearly Mascherano and the team are just being really, really careful with him and wanting to, know this is a long season, a lot of tournaments like we've been saying, and that this was a game when you're looking at the whole schedule that you thought maybe, we have a stronger team than Houston. This is in between two, Champions Cup rounds where they're, tournaments that we're really focused on and do or die. And so, yeah, Inter Miami went without Messi. And then not only did they go without Messi, but they played amazing, right? They won 4-1, I believe was the final score.
Yep.
Absolute stellar performance led by striker Luis Suarez, who we've all had our comments about and who people still talking, this, that, and the other, us included. But man, did he show up for that game? What was it? He got a goal and 3 assists, right? Like every goal, he was part of every goal.
Yeah, he contributed to every goal.
Before we get into the controversy, what are we thinking about just like this overall Inter Miami performance and what we've seen over the last, 2 matches of a really strong side?
If Suarez hasn't shushed you by now, or anyone by now, then like I don't know what else he has to do for people to hop off his back, because like I think after that performance, he's proved himself that, even despite of all the negative things that people are saying about him, he can still contribute, and not only contribute, but he can contribute to every single goal throughout the game. And he ran and he pressed, he dropped back, he went forward. Like he did the best that he could at his age and at this state of his career. And he was just fantastic. And for the team overall, I felt like we were just the better team, like from the start. Like and that's like without Messi. Like imagine if I think we did Houston a favor for not bringing Messi on, because if we won 4-1 without Messi, imagine with Messi, we would have won 8-1, or like, you know what I'm saying? So honestly, just props to the team. No Messi, no problem. And we really put on a show out there.
Look, I like what you said about Suarez, because it's true. Like, for as much as with issues that we thought that he may have with his legs and with his his ability to run around and be active, I think he really showed last game that, man, he's got the energy. He's in good physical shape, because as you said, he was everywhere on the pitch.
Yes.
He was everywhere. He was pressing. That first goal that Velasco scores is because Suarez pressed as Houston was trying to come out of their area. He steals the ball, immediately puts the pass in, and he was on the left side. He was on the right side. He was in the middle. He was coming down to the midfield. He was doing everything. And I think that for me, that's really important, because, that was one of the biggest issues you were thinking that you would have this season. So that's great for me. And then really looking at this team perform without Messi, it's not a surprise to me. I'll be honest with you, because we saw this team without Messi last season with him being injured. Also, Copa America, they really were able to win the majority of the games within his absence. But I think if this is any example of what we're going to see when Messi's not around, like, this is an even deeper and even more dangerous team than the one that played last season. So I think that was incredible. When you have Velasco and Tadeo, man, those guys are top notch. That's insane at what those guys can do.
Let's talk about that, because I know we're getting a couple of good comments, and it's good to see a couple familiar faces in the chat about Messi and resting. And, was it a muscle strain? Was it just planned rest? Just about Mascherano as a coach in general making such a strong decision. But before we do that, and before we talk about some of those question marks, I think to Gian's point, we really need to give credit to this Inter Miami team, because I know you said you weren't surprised. And I will say I'm not surprised that we won. I thought we would win, but we dominated. And the type of football that we've seen from the game against Kansas City, the home game, to now, with, let's say, Messi even coming off at the 60-minute mark, right? Like, let's say without that, that's 120 minutes we've played without Messi. That has been like phenomenal football. And Segovia, look at the performance of this young Venezuelan kid. I mean, just outstanding. Tadeo Allende, fantastic goal. And you're seeing the likes of Busquets, Jordi Alba, Luis Suarez, keeping up with their effort and their leadership, their competitiveness that's seeping through the team. Ian Frey, who obviously we're going to talk about because of the red card, but I still think, man, after so many injuries, after so many stop and starts, still being so young, and knowing now he's with Cello on the bench, just like outstanding performances. So I thought they deserve some credit, and I'm excited to see what they do this year.
I think to look at Velasco's performance, I think it's just incredible. And the fact that there are conversations now that I've seen on socials about people talking about him versus Diego Gomez, and kind of, how good Diego Gomez was for us, and people comparing it to him, and some people going as far as saying that he's better than him. I'm not there yet to make that decision yet, but I can definitely say if he continues this way, he's going to make an argument as to whether this was an improvement or not. But he's definitely going in there and stepping in. And man, Tadeo Allende's goal, bro, qué golazo. Like, that was,
oh my God,
that was incredible.
Yeah.
That was crazy. That was a really good goal. So now, I mean, we may have the most dangerous attacking front, and I think in all MLS, with Velasco, Tadeo, Messi, and Suarez. And then now we're talking about other players. With Fafa, I forgot about him, who's still recovering from injury. Like, we're really deep up front. Yeah. And Robert Taylor, who, hopefully he gets more minutes, is going to be a little bit tough. But with the amount of tournaments that we have, hopefully he will. But man, where you knew that we didn't have any issues up front, just the fact that we got better, that's scary hours for, I think, a lot of teams out there.
Different gravy is how I would describe Velasco Segovia. Different gravy.
Different gravy? Like the sauce?
You guys never heard of that?
No. Where's that from?
It's a clip. Is
that an English phrase? Because I'm usually the one telling Gian about the Americanisms.
It's a British thing. It's like an English.
Yeah, that other time that I remember you said something about worldy, and I'm like, I was thinking from like a global perspective. I was like, that doesn't make sense to me. What is he talking about? Like,
it's geographically, like something the whole world.
I think the chat would know. I think the chat would know what different gravy is. But no, it's like I'll send it if I find it. I'll send it to you guys. But it's funny. But
did you just age us? Did you just age us? Like,
that's gotta be like TikTok, man.
No,
young people in TikTok.
I don't know. Speaking of TikTok,
if it's not on MySpace, I don't know about it.
Self plug for TikTok. I posted a day in the life for this past Tuesday's match when it was like we spoke about that Kansas City game where Inter Miami played so well. It was an 8:00 home game, and I showed kind of behind the scenes of what a typical weekday looks like for me. And I know similarly for Gian and Matt, when we have the Inter Miami game at night, but our regular jobs during the day. And so check it out on TikTok.
Watch. You guys got to see that. You see
it must watch.
Putting on
the transitions can get better. My transitions and voiceovers can get better. But yeah, Messi and Co. 5 RSN. I'm going to put it in the chat right now. Go check it out because we're going to be posting more on TikTok. But okay, we waited long enough. Let's talk about Messi. We spoke in the episode before when we were like, yeah, we were a little worried at first. He came out in the 60-something minute, but everyone said he was fine. The coach said he was fine. The players said he was fine. And they were just resting him because they had already a big advantage in the aggregate of the match. But then we found out the next day that although Messi trained normally on Friday, he didn't travel with the team to go to Houston. Everyone citing it as rest, no injury. Couple comments that we're seeing here, and I'll let you guys kind of give your opinion, but muscle strain but not an injury maybe. I mean, people are saying that Messi, before he got subbed out, was leaning down to touch his leg because maybe he felt something. I also think that was kind of just a moment of he's standing there and he's just being a human, and someone captures that moment. But let's say it was and he did feel something. Making a decision to rest and to put this, tournament first. I think obviously he is going to play tomorrow unless something drastic happens. He trained normally today. Refreshing to see, I think, knowing what we have as a very long season. My question to both of you is, one, do you think it was purely rest? Do you think he felt something? Do you think it was precautionary? And two, do you think it was the right decision in context of MLS, in context of the season, the fans, the people traveling to Houston, etc.?
Yeah, I think, Matt may feel the same way. I think he also plays soccer, but as someone who plays soccer regularly, I've plenty of times have felt different things in my leg, my calf, and have not been injured. And I will go in and take it easier, or maybe, I won't play the next day just to make sure that I don't get it into an injury. And I think that at this age, that's what's going on with Messi. The moment he feels something a little, it's not necessarily that it's an injury. It's not necessarily that he pulled something or strained something. Especially at that level, we're like, okay, I'm overworking this leg. I'm overworking this muscle.
I feel it every day, honestly.
It's time. Look, I'll be honest with you. I did a photo shoot yesterday for a client for my business, and today I thought I did leg day just because of the different. If I was a model, I would charge everybody a subscription fee to watch me. Unfortunately, I'm not at that level. But yeah, the athletes know that, especially Messi at this age, at the age of it was 38, I think, or 37.
37.
Yeah, at this age, he knows exactly what he needs to do to make sure that he stays physically fit and ready to play. And I think Mascherano and the coaching staff is on the same level as him. And they tell him, anytime you feel something, let's not risk it. Just get out of the game. And I think that was prudent. That was wise. And they knew that Houston was an inferior opponent. They knew that they have a deep enough team to win. Why risk it? When really it's about Champions Cup. It's early on in the league. You don't have to worry about that type of stuff. So if I was a fan, I wouldn't worry about that. The only downside is,
second match
of course,
day, right? Of 38.
Yeah,
so I think it's perspective too.
But to your point, perspective is very important. And I think that if you look at this, because I also heard the same argument, or not, I would call it an argument, but the same point on ESPN when they were talking about this. Look, it's the second game of the season, but we've also played 5 preseason games where Messi basically played every game. Yeah. We also had 2 Champions Cup games already before the season, before the second week of the season. We also had a game. If you look at the perspective, thinking about how many games we had going into that, yeah, it's a second week, but you've already played 8-9 games. Why would you risk, if Messi's telling you, reaching down his leg and saying, you know what, I think I've overused this. I don't want to get injured. There is zero reason to risk it so early on in the season. Yeah. And I feel bad for the fans, right? Everybody that wanted to go see him in Houston. It sucks. I can imagine everybody wanting to see him, wanting to get their families to see him, their kids, and they can't do it. It sucks. But Inter Miami has to worry about Inter Miami and nothing else.
I 1000% agree with you. And about perspective, it's kind of crazy when you say perspective, and we think about perspective, it's kind of crazy how, like you said, we've had all these preseason games, and now we're literally only playing in the second week of the season, and we already have to rest certain players because of fatigue and just match congestion. It's kind of ridiculous, but no, I mean, it was clearly the right decision from Mascherano. I believe he said in a press conference that it was for precaution. He just came out for precaution. They wanted to rest him for precaution. And that's the right thing. There's no reason for him to travel to Houston to risk a potential injury, a recurring injury that we've seen happen last year and years prior. And it was just not necessary. I mean, at the end of the day, for Miami, they didn't really need him because they had the win regardless. But I mean, like, this is something that we're going to be seeing throughout the season, probably more than a handful of times.
Look, and you have to also realize too, in this league in MLS, I think out of all the leagues that I follow, this is where the one league where games matter the least out of all the leagues.
Yeah, exactly.
You can literally coast for 50% of the games and say, I'm going to turn it on at the end, and you're still going to make it through.
You can lose we can lose from now until June, and then like
more than 50% of the teams in the league make it. I think it's like 60% of the teams will make it into the playoffs. Like that's how silly this league is, and why you can do these types of things. Most of the games are meaningless. So if Messi's telling you he doesn't feel good, then it's a meaningless game in game 2. I could
right. And that's also, I think, important because, you know, it's match 2. There's 36 more opportunities for him to play. And, you know, he probably won't play in all 36, but he'll play in most of them. He'll play in more games than not. If he's not, you know, if there's not a big ankle injury like last year or something like that, he's not going to just like, you know, for lack of a better term, half-ass the season. That's not how it works. That's not who he is. I think, you know, I get it from the perspective of the Houston fans, and I get it from the MLS perspective. They made this their primetime game, this, that, and the other. But, you know, Inter Miami is acting like a big club. They're acting like a club that you see across the world because if you want to be honest, millions of dollars they made in the preseason by going on this tour for South America. That's a priority. We're in 4 major tournaments for CONCACAF for MLS. We're in 4 major tournaments, including the Club World Cup and the Champions Cup, which is obviously multinational events. Those are the priority for Messi, and he will play in MLS, and he will, you know, this team will keep going, but you got to cut him some slack. He's played all of these matches at such a high level. Like I said, in forgetting even the preseason, in 3 competitive matches, already 4 goal contributions. And you have to have patience. You know, load management is a real thing. He's still at 37. He's the best player in MLS by far. He's still in people's best 11 in the world, best 11 of Argentina, who are the reigning world champions, and why am I forgetting the name of the tournament that just happened? Copa America champions. Thank you. You know what? Let's give him some slack and let's admit that this team came. Yeah, this team showed out why they can. I want to talk about Mascherano for a minute because let me tell you something right now. That's gutsy. He's 40 years old, right? This is his first big managerial job, right? Obviously used for the Argentinian youth. So far, he has really met, I'd say, the pressure. He's met the obstacles. He's continuing to meet obstacles, as we saw with the refereeing and with the injuries and with X, Y, and Z, having to explain Messi's rest. You know, these are big things. And not only is he doing a good job with them, he's excelling. His game plan, his rotation, his starters, his in-game management. I think it's been amazing, mature, everything we're hoping for. And so I think, you know, early on he deserves a shout out. And, you know, do you guys,
I wonder who doubted him?
Wait, who doubted him?
I wonder who doubted him.
Who would doubt him?
I doubted him, and I have no problem saying I doubted him because I think it was justified, and I think many other people doubted him as well. And look, I'm not ready to give him his flowers yet. Like, it's still early on. I'm somebody that can recognize that Mascherano has done well with what he's been given so far with the teams that he's played. But let's be real, he hasn't had big competition yet, like at all. Like, he had 5 games against like freaking San Miguelito. And that's fine because what are these preseason games? Like, when you plan it smartly, you're supposed to play usually against teams that you have a good chance of winning, because you don't want to go into a preseason, lose 4 or 5 games and go in with your team morale at the bottom going into the season. So that's the same reason why my home team, Ecuador, plays against like Haiti and stuff. Like, you know, not that Haiti is, you know, anything's wrong with Haiti, but Haiti's not one of the top teams in CONCACAF, unfortunately. So that's a good competition for Ecuador, or sometimes they may play like Las Islas Margaritas. I'm making that up. I don't even know if that exists somewhere in the Caribbean, but like they play teams that they know that they have a good chance of beating, even though Haiti has always played good against us. So I don't think we should do that anymore. But the other thing I'm thinking is, look, we went into the Champions Cup. Okay, like that was, I don't think that was the best competition either. Now you're going to go against Cavalier FC. You played a man down against New York City. Now you played against Houston, who has no DPs, and you still. So at the end of the day, like I wanna say like the competition wasn't the best. So I'm not ready to say he's doing amazing, but I will give him kudos. With what he's been giving, I think he's done well, especially playing down a man and still getting this team into the proper spots with the right strategies to win. So good job for him, but we still have to see to judge.
I agree.
It's still too early.
It's too much down the road. We still have a lot of game left.
We still have a lot to go.
A lot of season left. Yeah.
A lot of season left, but so far, I just think in terms of decision making and maturity, games you win and lose, circumstances happen, but I've liked the way he's led, right? The team, the players, knowing some of the players are the same age as him or close to it, so it's I
agree with this, by the way, what Ace is saying. You know how I feel about the Supporter Shield. And it's true. Like, it's very true. Like, Inter Miami already achieved Supporter Shield in 2024. I don't think they care about Supporter Shield in 2025, because at the end of the day, if you ask somebody or the common fan, who's the champion of MLS, who's the best team in MLS, they're never going to tell you, oh, the one that won the Supporter Shield. No, they're going to say the one that won MLS Cup. And I think Messi knows that. Messi wants to win MLS Cup. Supporter Shield is like a cherry on top. It's like, okay, it's a nice to have. But is it the goal? No, it's MLS Cup. And that's why the season, it may look different when resting Messi, because it's not about, they already broke the points record. They broke the
marathon, not a sprint, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So MLS Cup is what they're eyeing right now.
Okay, so we'll obviously go back to Messi and previewing tomorrow's match, but we talked about the good of the game. We talked about how the players performed, how the coaches were, the rotation. But man, this is now the second match in 3 where referee decisions has really taken over and overshadowed the performance and the players, because there's so many components of this particular topic, but I'd say probably the one on everyone's mind was that as the match was ending in extra time, a Houston player who was obviously frustrated about the loss stomped on Jordi Alba when he had pushed him out for what was a normal play of two of your left back and your right like winger or midfielder going against each other. You go shoulder to shoulder. Sometimes someone gets knocked out. That happens. But he stomped on him after, and no yellow card, no red card. But then, minutes later, Ian Frey was shown a straight red card after the whistle had blown for a referee claiming that he was touching his opponent's head and neck. When you look at the tape, it looks like this Houston player was holding Ian Frey back and starting basically, I don't know, a tussle with him, let's just say. And Ian Frey, while he may have, touched his head or neck, was pushing this guy off so he could walk away because he was holding him from walking away and leaving the pitch. Got shown a straight red. A lot of people on Twitter have been commenting on it. A lot of people, social media warriors commenting on it. We all feel the same way about it. When we saw it in real time, we said, I don't think that's a red card. I think something's missing. Mascherano today, or was it yesterday, in his press conference, basically said, there's an unfair thing happening to Inter Miami. That's never a red card. We're appealing it. So that's waiting in the balance. But I think that I want you guys' take on that, on Frey and just the overall performance. But man, I said this after the New York City game, and it sounded kind of like, like crybaby, or like you're saying it too early in the season. But there seems to be some weird stuff happening with refereeing Inter Miami so far this season, and I think it needs to be course corrected pretty soon. So what are your guys' take? I know I just said a lot of things, but just catching everyone up. What are we thinking?
You want to go first, Gian? You want me to?
Nah, you're the referee. You're the ref.
Listen, I love Joe Dickerson. I don't know how I'm gonna start this. I have so much to say. I love Joe Dickerson. I've met him.
This is our referee on the show, by the way.
Yes, this is I've met Joe Dickerson at an event. He's a really nice guy. He's a great referee, and he FIFA referee, and I learned a lot from him.
Too. Sorry, I didn't say this too. And Jordi Alba got a fine after, even though he was stopped on them. Sorry, keep going.
Which I'll talk about that after Frank. But it's so yeah, I love him. But this game got so out of control, and he really lost it in a lot of moments. And like you said, I'll talk about what you said about the refereeing in the NYCFC. You're saying that maybe that there's referees that are trying to show that they aren't in favor of us, so they're making calls against us, and that's exactly what happened in this game against Houston, and it's really, really hurting us more than helping. Like you said, there's been so many calls that should have went. Like we had so many. I think we had like a handful of yellow cards. Houston almost had none, and they should have had at least.
And there's a crazy foul statistic that I'll pull up. Keep going.
Okay. Do you want to do it now or later?
No, keep going. I have to find it.
So, and yes, and Bartlow is the guy that started the altercation with Ian Frey. I don't know what they were talking about, but as soon as he literally full on grabbed his shirt and pulled it, it literally was so wide that it turned into a flag, and the Ian Frey was trying to push him off, and justice for Frey. I see it in the comments. Justice for Frey. It's very unfair. And the fact that Dickerson just couldn't even get in the middle, show them both a yellow at least, maybe for just pushing each other. Jordi Alba is the same way. Like Jordi Alba literally got stomped on and pushed to the ground, and then literally no call, no foul. Literally 10 seconds later, Ben Kakremashi made a foul to retaliate, gets a yellow card, fair. But then there's no yellow card for, what was his name, Kovalchik? There was no card on Kovalchik for Jordi Alba. So I'm like, there was just a lot of there was no consistency. The game got out of control. It was just an absolute mess.
And wait, really quickly, I'm going to give you the stat because I agree. It got super out of control. And Gian, I want your thoughts too. And shout out to Inter Miami CF Hub, Inter Miami News Hub on X. Foul and card stats for Houston. Fouls committed by Houston, 24. Yellow cards given, 2. Okay. Inter Miami, 14 fouls that they conceded throughout the game. Okay. 5 yellow cards given and 1 red card.
Yeah.
So think about that.
That's ridiculous. 24 fouls you said for Houston?
24 fouls by Houston on Inter Miami resulted in 2 yellow cards. And by the way, we're not trying to get everyone getting yellow cards. That's not what we're saying. But think about this in comparison. 24-2. So that's a 12-1 ratio. Miami 14. 6 cards, 5 yellow and 1 red, 14-6, so 2/3 basically. So think about that. Comparing those two things, it's dicey.
But that shows, right, the out of control. Yeah. Sorry, last thing. But that shows the out of controlness of the game, and it's like you need to. There has to be balance. There has to be evenness, and there's definitely a bias. And I don't want to put that. I don't want to say that as a referee, as somebody who supports referees and backs referees, and I know how difficult that job is. I mean, I have never reffed like an MLS level game, but I've reffed semi-professional, and I know how difficult those games can be, and the pressure you're under, and etc. But it's really showing the past 2 MLS games with the situation with Aviles and the situation now with Frey and Jordi Alba that there's just been a lot of bias against Inter Miami to try to prove to everybody that the referees are not on Inter Miami side. They're not in favor of Messi. They're not so instead of they're trying to send a message, we're going to find Jordi, we're going to find Messi, we're going to find Suarez, we're going to find all these guys, and then that's it. So yeah, I don't know. John, you can take it now.
I agree with the fact that of what you just said. These referees are really trying to show that they're not in favor, or not necessarily that they're not in favor, but they're not going to have a friendly whistle towards Inter Miami. And by doing that, they've honestly gone in too much in the opposite way. I think there's a fine line for you to be able to do that. But to me, I guess the bigger question is this coming from the referees, or is this coming from the league? Is it something bigger? And that's what would be interesting, because it's not the first referee. Like there are referees that it's been happening. It's not just one guy. So
you're
to
saying
me,
in all competitions, not
yeah,
just the
like
MLS.
yeah, like even in I think
In
it's just
CONCACAF,
it's just a bigger thing. I think no, but in MLS more than anything, I know we're 2 games in, but even against New York City, I just think that it looks like to me like the league has set a mandate to and spoken to the referees and said we need to make sure that you guys, don't let Inter Miami off and don't make it look like they have a friendly whistle. And then from then on, it's on the referees, but they're not doing that part correctly. That's what I think. And I think also, really, how much of this is also them taking a bigger stance because of the actions of guys like Messi, Suarez, and Alba? Maybe in the sense of like they want to calm them down a little bit because they're guys that have a lot of emotion, a lot of passion. I saw one of the other networks I can't remember if it was CBS or ESPN, like also bringing up a good conversation is like, these are guys that have played in Champions League. These are guys that have played in the World Cup. And then they come to MLS where the competition is just not there. Are they doing this just to like fire themselves up to try to make this a grittier game, to have more of to add a bit more of a competitive level? I just think there's a lot of things here where we can use as like to try to figure out what's going on, but I really don't know. It could be any of those. But I really just think that the league it's what Matt said. The league is trying to show that they don't have a friendly whistle. And then part of it I also think is they're trying to calm Messi, Suarez, and Alba down, but they're not doing it in the correct way. Look, that Jordi Alba foul, that's a red card, Matt. Like, do you agree?
It is.
Like, that's
a huge red card.
1,000%.
That's a red card right away. How was there not even like we have that, right? Like how do you not look at that play? And then the thing with Ian Frey, bro, what's the name?
They are fighting it back, which is exciting. Which is I'm happy about. They're appealing it.
Yeah,
but the referee, he doesn't even show a yellow. Like, how does he not show yellow to a guy that goes and grabs another guy by his jersey that's just trying to leave? Was not even in an altercation.
Yeah.
That should have been at least a yellow in my eyes.
Mm-hmm.
And that's just bad luck for Ian Frey. I don't think he was trying to go for the neck, but at the end of the day, he makes contact. I think it's just bad luck. It's a reaction. He just pushes off.
Yeah.
And it wasn't even like full
motion.
Neck. It was like around
he's
here.
going like this. Yeah, no, I agree.
But the referees are so quick to red card right away. And I don't even think he was going to give a red. You know what sold it? When Bartolo goes, he grabbed me.
Yeah.
He grabbed
And
me.
He thought about it.
Ear,
Dickerson thought about it. The ref thought about it. He took a couple seconds. He looked at Frey and then he whipped it out. But it was also, it could be an ego thing. It could be like the referees being like, oh, I don't care if Messi, Suarez.
Look what you hear.
Oh, look. There we go.
There you go.
I think it could be an ego thing too. Like the referees could be like, I'm not saying all referees are like this, right? Like I said, I still back them, but sometimes referees can be like, well, Messi, Suarez, Boosie, whoever, like they're not the boss. Like I'm the referee of this game. I tell you what to do. I'll show you a yellow card. Like I don't care who you are. I don't care where you've played. I don't care how many World Cups you've won, how many Champions League you've won. Like I'm the referee for this game, and I'm going to show you red. I'm going to show you yellow whenever.
That's what it felt like on that red card to Frey. That's what it felt like. It felt like,
but
I'm going to show you who's boss. Like,
I know, but
stupid? It was weird.
Yeah,
it felt so fake. It felt so fake, that red
forced,
card. Yeah, so forced, 100%.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people in the chat kind of saying, it seemed, reaction, etc. And I think this is a really great way of showing it, like pendulum, where maybe last season or people were complaining, like Messi, the GOAT, gets special treatment. Obviously, we know Jordi Alba is incredibly animated on the field and does as much as he can to provoke his opponent, tries to draw the cards, tries to get the energy, tries to, manage the situation. That's just being a winner. Suarez too.
These guys are reffing I'm sorry to interrupt. They're reffing Inter Miami like it's an NBA game. Like they like the littlest of touches, the little handshake. Like they're reffing us like it's an NBA game, and that's not how soccer's meant to be played. It's a physical game.
Yeah, of course. And I mean, this one too, I think it's kind of a joke, but it's all a big one. It's big cover up for the ref asking for the autograph after the Champions Cup.
Yeah.
Look, that was obviously like, yeah, he was wrong. And, it's not professional way until you're in the hallway, for lack of a better word. But, that's the complete other side of the thing. You don't have to like act like you hate him now and hate the team. Just be fair. Inter Miami, if you think they're flopping, don't call it. But if the other team flops, don't call it again, for them either. It's just about being fair. And I see a couple comments like, this is a very fair comment. And what I want to say, y'all are the journalists. Can you ask the referees or their representatives if they've been told by MLS to step up calls? Look, the problem with the reffing, and I think you can probably speak to this a lot, Matt, is that it is arbitrary and it's subjective. That's a very hard thing to police, and then it's a slippery slope. Well, if the referee union or the MLS is like, be easier, then they go to the other extreme now, and they're not going to call when Inter Miami make blame. So it's very hard, and then they're in their head, and so it's a difficult thing, and that's biased. If you say make better calls for Inter Miami games, like that's a bias. You can't say that either. So it's a fair question.
That's a question they wouldn't answer though. I'll tell you straight up. That's a question that
we're not getting our
answer.
press pass revoked. Sorry.
No, it's not even about that. Number one, they wouldn't answer that question. Like that's not something that they would tell you. Whatever goes on behind closed doors with the referee, the pro refs, they don't speak about that on the outside. So it wouldn't be even worth asking that, to be honest with you. I wish I knew though. I wish I knew the answer to that question.
In La Liga, pulling the jersey automatic red card. We saw the card for Jude Bellingham, by the way, which was like, highly contested. Like if he's, the emotions of the game, he says a curse word like stop being soft is, basically what people are saying. And it's a bigger conversation. I don't know if there's an answer to it. Honestly, I think, again, we're going to just have to, the season's going to have to build out. We're going to have to see how the matches go. Like I said, I don't want Inter Miami favored in calls. I just want them to be fair. And there obviously there needs to be course correction happening with the way they're being reffed, and just, something internal. You can't just put out a statement and be like, we'll be nicer to Inter Miami. You can't do that. Yeah. But it'll only something we'll see with time, right? If it improves, if we see more equality. And, we may see our first instance of it as soon as tomorrow, because it's time to talk about our preview of Inter Miami continuing their CONCACAF Champions Cup journey into the round of 16 when they play tomorrow in the first leg. Sorry, my words are all jumbled. They play in the first leg tomorrow against Jamaican Cavalier FC at Chase Stadium. How are we feeling about this? Already round of 16 so far. This team's looking strong.
Team's looking really good. And they're playing against a team that is I'm not too familiar with the Jamaican League, but they're the champions of the Jamaican League. And anytime you play a champion, I think you should be ready for a good fight, especially a team that doesn't really get to play big teams like this any time. So I think that Jamaican team, Cavalier FC, is going to give it their best, and I hope for it to be a good game, obviously. But I think that at the level that this team is right now, I don't think that there's anybody that can beat them at least, or that they're going to see a lot of competition until they get into the later rounds, really, of the Champions Cup. Messi right now, we'll see if he plays. They asked Macherano about that. He was unwilling to say if he was going to play. He said that he was good, that Messi was not injured, that obviously he was taken out just for rest, but he was unwilling to say if he's going to start tomorrow. I would say if Messi doesn't start, I still think that Inter Miami by far is going to win this game. But hey, one of the things that the biggest teams do, and I think that this is what's important, is they're always consistent. A lot of teams sometimes will lower their level of play to match who they're playing against, can take it too easy. So what I'm looking at when I look at this game is I want to make sure that Inter Miami remains consistent, the same level of intensity, and goes out there and really is, like we say in Espanol, contundente. Like they come out and they show their force and they show the level that they're made of. I want to see a butt whipping, because that's what it should be. Anything less than a butt whipping against a team that is very much inferior to you is not a good thing. So they got to keep the momentum going. They've been playing very well. If they scored 4 goals against Houston, they better score 6 against Cavalier FC.
Oh my gosh, this is Atlanta part 2 from last year, your prediction.
Well, I mean, I agree to that extent. I also still, I don't know anything about the Jamaican League, Jamaican teams, but like you said, they're the champions. But I don't want to undervalue them, and I don't want to, be complacent around them. But I also want to tread water on what kind of team. I was like, are we going to put a full starting 11 out there? If Messi does play, who are we going to put around him? Because we have a game on Sunday too against Charlotte. It's also at home, But then after that, and then after Charlotte, what was it, on Tuesday, Wednesday, we go to Jamaica and we have to travel to Jamaica. And then there Messi's will probably travel and whatever. So yeah, I don't know. I mean, like I do think we need to keep the momentum up, but at the same time, I also want us to be very careful, because if we do end up it has to be the same situation when it came to Houston, when we were up 4-0, 4-1. Suarez was coming out, Boosie was coming out, and everybody was coming out. I think it has to be that same thing. I think we play the strongest 11 that we can without taking too many risks, and then after that, we just start slowly bringing.
Matt, you said you don't want to undervalue them, right? Okay, so if you don't want to undervalue them, then you go in with the best 11 that you can.
No, that's what I said. That's what I'm saying. We go in with the best 11 that we can, and then after that, we'll slowly.
Also knowing I think it's different too if you're playing away and maybe you want to save a few players, knowing that your second game is going to be at home. Mm-hmm. I think this is a different as well. Like, you're at home, this is where you're going to make sure, because you don't want to not put in the best performance and only be up a goal going into Jamaica against whatever team you're playing. I know I believe that
you're in sold out stadium, national 40,000 people. Yeah.
So I think you need to take care of business here tomorrow.
Yeah. Agreed. I think, look, that's what we all love about knockout tournaments in sports, and why we love sports in general. You never know what's going to happen. Any team can beat any team on a given day. Any team can, show that they're championship worthy. So it's an important game. It's a competitive game. I think there will be some rotation. I think you'll still be playing your best available. I will say this. If he's healthy and normal, it's very unlike Messi to miss 2 competitive matches in a row. That's just not his style. Maybe he's only played for a certain portion or something like that, or maybe, they're trying to change it up a lot. But knowing Messi, he doesn't like to miss that competitive matches that often. Sunday, agreed, will be a really big test against Charlotte and, Wilfried Zaha, who proven Premier League caliber player, still young and still really good. It will be a difficult test, but I think you also don't wait a whole, you're not going to wait a whole week of players not playing, right? Like, you're not going to make such a rotation where they take a whole week off and they go into a super difficult, high stakes match. That's not
counterproductive, really.
Counterproductive. I think we'll see a little bit of both where, the team will be strong. You may see some, changes and stuff like that, but
hey, look,
they were be a really good match.
I'm interested to see how full that stadium is going to be as well. Unfortunately, Champions Cup doesn't get as much press as the league does, so we'll have to see if only they gave Champions Cup as much press as they do to Leagues Cup. That would be nice, where they can drive the audiences. I think the last time I saw it was like $30 a ticket to get into the stadium, which is insane for a Champions Cup game. Like that's
a whole conversation about TV money and funding and things like that, because Leagues Cup and MLS are on Apple TV, and this is shown on regular TV. I think it's Fox. So
like right now, $26.
That's really saying it's just different amounts of money you can make, and the different rights and budgets and all those things. Sometimes the priority is where you have people subscribed and watch, but it'll still be.
It's Champions Cup. It's Champions Cup. What is League
Round
Cup?
Of 16.
What is that?
Round of 16 though.
It's round of 16, but it's Champions Cup. I don't know. I think they should. I think the league should value that a lot more than some of these other things that they do. And
maybe as it gets closer, they will. As the tournament keeps heating up, I think also their priority in their mind is, still look, this is still only week 2 of MLS. MLS is the priority. This isn't like week 14 or 15 and having an international break. Like right now, all of their thinking and their budget is to MLS. But I would like to see a little bit more buzz. I think next week there will be a lot of buzz because it'll be Messi's first time in Jamaica. The stadium will probably be full, really high energy. Excited for that too.
Yeah, I'm excited to see them get off of the plane in Jamaican gear and the Hawaiian shirts and
listening to reggae.
I
want to hear it.
Open toe sandals. I'm ready for the vibes. Those Jamaican vibes are gonna be. I wish they would have done if they would have done a jersey, like a Jamaican jersey kind of thing for that game, that would have been sick. Some cool version there with I don't know.
Like,
For some reason,
with,
the
like,
things
the
I
colors
think
of their flag or something.
Yeah, I think that would have.
flag.
Yeah, I think that would have been sick, like a special edition, because it's a big thing. Messi's never been to Jamaica before.
Yeah.
Obviously, Inter Miami hasn't been to Jamaica before, so I think that
Really
would have been
cool.
a really cool thing if they would have done a special edition. But who knows?
Spring
Maybe
break
next
trip.
time.
No. Yeah.
Spring break. It'll
Yeah.
be cool. It will definitely be cool, and we're excited for it. We've already been here for 50 minutes. So there's one more topic I want to quickly go into as we kind of close the show out. And it ties into what we were just talking about, which is the latest, right? Out of this Inter Miami team, practice today saw some people out we expected to see out, some people we're not sure about, the likes of Gressel, Robert Taylor, a couple people where we're kind of like on the fence of where and how they fit into this team. Cello's still out. But yeah, what are we thinking about as this team does their final practice before tomorrow's match?
Well, you said it all. What am I supposed to say?
Say something. I don't know.
No, I'm just joking.
Here, answer this question.
Why is the new regime so down on Gressel? Can we get a decent return for back? Look, Gressel, man, I think that when Tata got on that airplane and left Fort Lauderdale Airport, Gressel went to like a bar and asked for some Jack Daniels, and he was like, dude, because Gressel, man, that was Tata's guy, and he got a lot of playing time. I just think that, look, obviously this team got better. They upgraded. They've got plenty of players that right now that are ahead of the pecking order for Gressel. I think Gressel right now is unfortunately an afterthought. I think that while he never really excelled and was never the best at any specific position, he was always the guy that was ready to go into any spot and can consistently perform. Where, okay, again, you were not going to be the best, but you weren't going to be afraid in that position. Whether they put him up top at the right wing, and when Messi didn't play, or maybe Eric Messi didn't play there, and he did excellent with his crosses. Those crosses were beautiful. One of the best, I think, skill sets that he has. They would put him in the midfield. They could play him at right back. Like, that was a guy that you could plug and play. But at this point in time, unfortunately, there's just so many people that you can move around right now that, for me, he's just wasting away on the bench. And if I was him, if I was his agent, he's a guy that can get a lot more playing time on a lot of teams in MLS. And I'm thinking, like, I'm still young where I can go somewhere else, get money, play well, champion. He's a guy that can go do that. And as a guy that likes Gressel, I think Gressel is a really nice guy and a good locker room guy. I think that he deserves to go somewhere else where he can get more playing time.
Gressel equals Sergio Roberto. Interesting. I know it probably meant Gressel.
Yeah, that's a good one, because Sergio Roberto is always like he got a lot of playing time in Barcelona. All of a sudden he went to the bench, but then he'd come in and be like captain of the team. Like, even though he'd play once every like 10 games or 15 games. And he's a guy that everybody loves to this day. And I would have been down for him to come to Inter Miami. There was some rumors a while back. I would have loved to have him. A guy that could play anywhere. That he played in the defense, he'd play in the midfield. He was excellent guy.
It sucks for Gressel. I was really rooting for him. I just loved how an experienced player he was. He was a decorated veteran of the league. He's won nearly like essentially everything, and I thought he brought good value to the team. And like you said, he now that the team has gotten better, there's really no place for him. But I mean, he's always ready. Like you said, he's always ready to come off either the bench, or he's just always ready to play, and he'll perform consistently. And no matter what the situation is. And so I thought he brought like decent value to the team, but unfortunately, like you said, like now that he has no place, now he doesn't have really a spot anymore. If I was his agent, or I'd be like, I'd be looking for a move too, because he would belong on a lot of starting 11s in the MLS. And
like Leo Campana. Like on any other team, he makes it, and he got the jump. I agree with you. I think Inter Miami can get probably a decent return for Julian Gressel.
I would hope so. Sure.
I think to Gian, you said it all. Like, Gressel, it's unfortunate because he's a good dude. He's a team player. He did a lot for us last season, filling in a lot of holes when we needed it.
One of our
two-time
captains,
MLS Cup champion, proven winner. Had a tough season to deal with last year, a lot of ups and downs. And I agree that I think his time's probably soon up for Inter Miami. And hopefully we get a good value for him, and hopefully he can get back to playing, starting minutes. And so we'll see.
I was going back to what you said, because obviously I was joking. The whole thing, I think the biggest thing coming out of practice is just that Leo trained normally. I think that was excellent. And then we're still on Drake calendar watch. He was absent. He wasn't there. A lot of times when you don't see them on the field, that doesn't mean that they didn't play. Remember, press only gets 15 minutes to watch practice. And then after that, there are times where while press is there, they don't want them to see the guy that's, still rehabbing. So they'll have them in the training room doing training stuff. Press leaves, and they'll come out and they'll do that sort of thing. So we'll see. That Drake calendar injury, it looks like it's taken a long time, but supposedly he's getting better. It looks like he was about 80 to 90% last time I heard. So, and then Chelo too. Hopefully Chelo gets better soon. I think Ian Frey deserves a rest. Obviously he's got a red card now, so we'll have to see who plays in that right back position if Chelo is available by this weekend.
Gressel got to suit up.
Gressel, yeah, that would be a good time for Gressel to come in.
But I honestly, I thought Drake would be playing.
Apparently he was medically cleared. By Inter Miami, he's been medically cleared, but he has been saying that he just isn't feeling up to it, and that the injury is, more than, because I guess maybe how you feel different. Something to watch for sure. But Ustari has been an absolute beast and super strong, super consistent.
I'm okay with Ustari staying in the starting spot right now.
Yeah.
Do you want him to play tomorrow? Or do you think he should be rotated out?
I see no reason for him to be rotated out. I feel the most confident with him in the goal, and I feel the most confident with.
Goalkeepers don't need to be rotated.
Yeah, Oliver Kahn playing until he was like 60 years old in Europe, and I think we're gonna be fine with Ustari. Ustari's what, like 38?
Yeah,
39 or something.
Oh no, I think he's like 40.
Like 40.
He looks a little on the mature side.
No, but he moves like a young guy. Yeah. So that's what's good.
38. Yeah.
That goalies have a longer lifespan in their careers, obviously. So
100%. And he's really stepped up. So I have a lot of the Inter Miami players that we've picked up. We talked about Segovia, Allende. We're seeing some exciting stuff out of this team, and tomorrow, another day in the journey of this 2025 Inter Miami season. We're super excited. All right. Well, it's been almost an hour, so I think we can probably wrap this up.
You've had enough of us.
I've had enough of you guys. Yeah, I can't listen to you anymore. And Gian going to be talking my ear off tomorrow, and then giving me all this crap. Like I'm already expecting it. But thank you everyone who joined, who listened, who contributed to the conversation. We had a lot of great, we were unsure because this is the first live on the new channel. Got so many great comments, thoughts, ideas, and we love talking about it. We're excited. Lots of things happening for Inter Miami. We'll see what happens with the refereeing and will the red card be rescinded? Will Messi play tomorrow? Will there be rotation? Lots of questions that we'll hopefully have answered. But thank you, as always, for tuning in. Make sure you're following us on X at Messi and Co. and our new YouTube channel, 5 Reasons Football, which is where we've been on today. We really appreciate it. Let us know your thoughts, anything you want us to talk about. Thank you, Gian. Thank you, Matt, for joining. And we'll see you guys next time.